came here in May of 2010 and was volunteering with Bonita. She had so much going on. It was right after the earthquake, and she literally was saving hundreds and hundreds, thousands of lives, which she continues to do. It's just an ongoing thing that she's done for over 6 years. She does have, one other thing I didn't share was she also does a clothing distribution center. I think I've talked about every other program she's done. She does. When Nicole came on my first trip, which I led, there were 12 of us, 14 of us. Mm-hmm. It was in October of 2010, and we were volunteering with Bonita, and she had these 3 little girls that showed up at her doorstep, and they showed up. They had nowhere
They ran
to
away.
go. Pardon?
They were runaways.
They had run away from a very abusive situation where they had been. Their parents had been killed during the earthquake, and they were living with their uncle, and he was abusing them, and they just showed up, and they were tear-stained. And so she kind of brought me with her, and she took me outside, and she said, you know, I have this property, and she pointed to the property up this hill, and she said, I own, you know that land with all the tents, where the tent city is, and this was all a tent city. This was all grass, and it actually was at a slope. It was it was like lots of thickets. So it took a while to actually just clear the land, but once we did that. But she said, my dream is to have a children's home and a school for children that show up, and I would just love it to be able to create a place where I could just nurture the kids and love them and
start crying.
and create a future for them. Because as somebody said last night, every child just deserves to be loved, and so I couldn't get the vision of these 3 little girls out of my head. And I left Haiti, and just seeing their transformation in a couple of days, like I kept, because they stayed with her, and she just kind of took care of them until she could find them a place to stay. And I was in Bali, and 2.5 months later, I was leading a yoga retreat in January of 2011. And my husband, on New Year's Day, we were out looking at the rice paddies. I was about to start my retreat a couple days later. He said, what do you want to do this year? You know, it's New Year's Day, let's have some resolutions or whatever. And I was like, well, I want to build a children's home in Haiti for Bonita. And he was like, what? Because as Nicole had mentioned, Bonita had basically spent all her pension. And so I really could not, I was like haunted still by these girls. And he was like, okay, well, if you want to build a children's home, let's do it. And so we called Bonita from Bali that day on New Year's Day, and we called her and we said, Bonita, we don't know how we're going to do it. We don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but we're going to try our best, and we're going to help build we're going to fundraise to build a children's home for you. And she started crying, we started crying, and it was just a little bit of a cry love fest. And then we started fundraising when we got back in February of 2011. And yeah, we've raised over $550,000. And my dad on the trip, I mean, it's been incredible. I'm still blown away at how much progress they've made. My dad came on the trip in October of 2012, last year. There were over 100 Haitian guys, 120? I don't remember. They were actually pouring concrete on the roof. They had a ladder going this side. There was a ladder this side. There were 2 cement mixers. And it was the most organized guys I've ever seen. There was a guy on every rung of the ladder. And they were passing up buckets. One guy passing up, and the buckets were shooting down. There were all these guys doing the buckets. Doing the cement mixing. There were 20 guys on either side of the roof pouring the concrete. The gentleman who's the engineer for this project actually lives in New York, but he's a Haitian. He helped build Bonita's other center, and he put enough rebar in this to actually build a skyscraper. So it's so seismically safe. What did you say? I loved what you said about that. Cyril, you said something about how in an earthquake there could be like a semi-truck.
Oh yeah, on the roof, and it still would be sturdy. It's pretty much unbelievable. We saw when they were still putting just the foundation. It's not a foundation for just a 2-level building.
Yeah,
so he went way beyond to make it sturdy.
That's great.
Oh, I don't remember that part. Do you guys want to walk in?
Yeah, I'd love to walk.